Hey, and welcome back. This week in maths, we're looking at time, reading time, converting time, finding out how much time has gone between two events. But before we do, I want to talk about reading time. Now, reading time on an analog clock is something that we get taught in probably year one, year two, year three, and year four. And so by the time we get to year five, we don't really teach how to read an analog clock. Okay. But however, I do know that some of you still struggle with it. So I thought instead of converting time today, we would go back a little bit and do some work on how to read a clock properly, just in case, just as a refresher. If you are watching this video and you already know how to read a clock perfectly, great. You can stop this and go and watch the other video that I made for today's lesson. But if you're still a bit unsure, a bit confused about reading a clock, watch this video because I'm going to do a really quick run through about how to do it, and then an activity just for you guys, so we get a bit more confident before we start on the converting time between 24-hour time and 12-hour time. So let's take our clock. Okay, so this is a normal clock that we would see. You don't see it as much these days as you would in the beforehand, but nonetheless, you see it still quite a lot in classrooms and stuff. You obviously know how to read half past an o'clock. I understand that. I understand that's where we are. So that when we have times like, the big hand is the minute hand and the short hand is the hour hand. I'm going to assume we know that, right? It's just about the rest of it. Okay. So the clock split up into 12 pieces, right? So, and each piece is worth 5 minutes. Okay. So when you're reading it, quite often I use the quarters and half past and quarter to as a baseline to figure out where we are in terms of minute hands. Okay. But each of them goes up by fives. Okay. So this is 4 o'clock now, but if we go to here, it's 4:05. Then the next one is 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then back to o'clock. Now I don't expect you, if you get to the 11, to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You could count back, or you can use these things. If we know that the 3 is quarter past is 5:15, right? Then if it's here, we may not need to go and count from fives again. We could just know that 5 times 4 is 20, or you could start from 15 and go 20, and then you go then you count each individual minute. So if you see it here, I don't expect you to straight away just know what time that is. You would go to the 7 and know that that says 5:35 here, right? And then you'd count the minutes after 35. So you'd go 36, 37, 38. Time is 5:38. Okay. The big problem that we get confused with when I was teaching this with the younger grades is they wouldn't know whether this is 5:38 or 6:38. If it hasn't got to that number yet, it is not that. We are not up to 6 o'clock if it hasn't gotten there yet. Okay. The other thing is when we're talking about time, we usually, once we get to here, we just tell the time. So if it's here, we just call it 5:06 or 6 past 5, right? Or we call it 5:20 or 20 past 5. But once we go past the halfway, we start talking them as in 2. So we don't just talk them as in like 5:37. So 5:37, we would say, well, you know what, we would say 5:37. But when we get close, when it's like this, we say it's 10:02. It's 10 to 6, 10 minutes to 6. To be honest, if you can't do that, that's okay. As long as you know how to read the clock, that's really the main part of what we need to do. All right, so let's just see if we can, I wonder if we can show a dice. And I wonder if I can turn off the time. Can I turn it off? Cool. All right. Okay, let's have a look first. The first thing we're looking for is the hour hand. The hour has passed the 7. So we are past the 7. So it's 7 something, right? And now we don't know what it is yet, but we know that up to the 3 is 15. Okay, so then we're not at the 4 yet. So we go 16, 17, 18, 19. The time should be 7:19. Let's have a look. There you go, 7:19. Let's try again. Hour hand first. The hour hand says it's just past the 4, so it's 4 something. Now we know that the 1, we know 5. So we're just going to count. And after that, we count by 1s, 6, 7. It should be 4:07. Okay, 4:07. Let's go off again. Let's go one more time. We can see here, it's not up to the 3 yet. It's only past the 2. So it's going to be 2 something. We're going to make sure we remember 2 something. And then over here, right, we know that the 9 equals 45. We know that's like 45. So then we can just count on from 45, 46, 47, 48, 40. Oh, that's so close. It's like halfway between. It's like 5, 46, 47, 48. It's like 5:48 and 30 seconds or something like that. Let's see. There you go. All right, last one. Okay, so this one, you can see that it's past the 8, but not past the 9. So it's 8 something. We know this is our 30 minutes. That's 35. So we can count on 1 minute after this. 36, 37, 38. So it should be 8:38. Okay. The main thing to remember is that each of them you count by 5s all the way around. Just count by 5s. All right. But we don't use, it's really, if it's up to 10, it's really silly to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. You use the landmark. So you use the 15, the 30, and the 45 as your basis to know where to go from. All right. I want you to try and do the activity down below. But like I said, if you already knew how to read a clock, you should have done the other activity because this activity isn't for you. All right. Good luck. Let's see how you go with it. All right. Thanks for watching.